welcome to Junkwax Junkie, where we love junk wax more than Rafael Palmeiro does lying to Congress. I'm Matt. This is
Andy and Dookie.
And this is our dog Duke. Now, today we are going to talk about what is probably, well, not probably, well, yeah, it is one of the worst sets of the Junkwax era. This set is just pure, absolute garbage, and that is the 1990 Donruss set. This has got to be a perfect example of what happened during the Junkwax era. Now, the design of the cards, pretty typical of the era and everything else, but that's not what did this set in. This is one of the most widely produced sets of the Junkwax era. Most card companies produced about 4 million of each card. 4 million of each card, give or take. But the 1990 Donruss, take a guess how many they made for each card. How many copies did they make of each card?
4 million?
More.
6 million.
More.
10 million?
10 million is about what they think. Now, Donruss has never released, like all the other card companies, they don't like to release how many copies. We have said on the low end, it is speculated that they made 10 million copies of each card. This is one of those card sets that you saw absolutely everywhere. And I remember buying these because Donruss had a pretty good reputation. And so I remember when these came out to the card shop in Kirksville, Missouri, and I bought Donruss because I thought, oh, okay, let's start off with Donruss. It's got a good reputation, not too bad, it's good staying power, blah, blah, blah. But then the next day, I went to a doctor's appointment, and I swear to you, there at my doctor's office, they were selling 1990 Donruss cards. And I thought, well, that's kind of cool. They sell them here. But then as I sat there for a while, I thought, how many copies do they have if they sell them at a doctor's office? Baseball cards at a doctor's office. So that kind of question, I should have had those better questions at the end. But what really stunk about this set is when you would buy a pack. Do you know how many cards would be in a wax pack typically?
Maybe 10?
15, which is pretty close. And when you bought a pack, with Donruss you would get 3 puzzle pieces. That would come, and it was kind of fun to get your puzzle pieces and make the puzzle. And now I've put some of them in frames and decorated my house with it, much to the chagrin of my wife, but I still have those puzzles, and they look kind of cool framed up. So if you've got any old Donruss puzzles, put a puzzle together, get it framed. It actually looks kind of neat when you do that. That said, the thing that was the worst about this set is when you would buy a set of these, or a pack of these, you would get the same 15 in every single pack. And I still remember sitting there thinking, oh, Cal Ripken, I know what's coming next. And it would be the same 3 or 4 cards every single pack. They did no effort to hand collate them. And don't believe me on this, you can still get a pack of 1990 Donruss on eBay, or a box of 1990 Donruss on eBay, and open the packs, and you will discover that for yourself. There was no random collating. It's like they had it all done by machine, and you would get the same 15 in all these different packs. So if you bought a box, you might have 4 or 5 packs that would be the exact same. That's another reason why these cards really stunk. But the other thing that they did is they had a special random insert. Do you know what a random insert is?
No, I do not.
A random insert is when, and this is when the random insert era started coming up. When they would say, they would put make a special set of special cards, and for them, they did an MVP random insert. And these were just awful. They were awful for the background. There was nothing spectacular about these random inserts. Nothing spectacular about them all. And as I look through these 1990 random inserts, judge for yourself, but they look like they're high school senior pictures. Von Hayes, Alan Trammell, Paul Molitor, George Bell, even the Bo Jackson, who is arguably one of the most exciting players of the Junkwax era, and this is what they did to the guy. It looks like a promotional picture, like he was just kind of walking back from the dugout and they took a picture of him. Howard Johnson, Dave Schmidt, or Dave Stewart, Tony Gwynn. And the only decent picture in it is Pedro Guerrero, who, if you've ever played RBI baseball in the original old school Nintendo, Pedro Guerrero was awesome. But these random inserts are just absolutely terrible. They're just absolutely awful. And they have no effort. It's like they just took random pictures as an also run. And Greg Swindell, tell me that doesn't look like some guy's high school senior picture. I mean, they're just absolutely terrible. Even two things Donruss was really known about in all of their sets, well, several things, but one of them were the Diamond Kings. And for their Diamond King artwork, they'd choose a guy from each team, which could be a stretch, especially with, certain teams are having a bad time. And they'd commission some kind of nice artwork with a nice background. Here's a John Smalley. And even these cards, okay, here is a perfect example. Ruben Sierra. Ruben Sierra was a much better looking guy than this. Is that an awful painting? What if somebody did a painting of you and it looked like that?
I would be horrified.
I would be horrified too. It doesn't, even Bo Jackson. It's just, they're Diamond Kings in this set. A lot of times can be very, very sketchy. But when I look through these Diamond Kings, actually, yeah, the Dave Stewart one looks kind of dope on his. His looks pretty cool. But even the Diamond Kings were awful. Were just absolutely awful. Those of you who are White Sox fans might appreciate the Ozzie Guillen on this one. He's an okay player, but a really cool manager if you ever watch his teams. They also did these random cards of the All-Stars, as if that wasn't enough. They did these All-Stars where they would just take another picture, nothing different from the back. All they would do is slap either the American League or the National League emblem on the back. Yes, they were that awful. They made no effort. It seems like Donruss did this thing where they just said, let's just get cards out. If we make them, they will come. And the whole set is just a lesson in crappiness. And even the card of A. Bartlett Giamatti, who had died that year, is awful. They made no effort into anything on this set at all. It's like they just printed it out and got it out. Mass-produced, just terrible. Now, this is where, in the video, we come with our scales. We judge our cards, our sets, from the Junkwax era using 6 categories. Card, quality and stock, photo quality, design, key cards, crash effect, and staying power. Now, the first one is the card quality and the card stock. There is a tiny bit of a gloss on it, which the only saving grace is this was kind of when cards started to put a little bit of a glossy sheen on their cards, starting around 89 or so. That's its only redeeming factor. And the card stock is no different than all the rest of them, but there's nothing spectacular about them. So out of 10, scale of 1 to 10 on card stock, they get a 3. Photo quality, well, it's just, the quality isn't bad, but the pictures that they took are just terrible. Absolutely terrible. There's no cards in this set where you can say, that is a really cool set. You can't say that on anyone. Does that look like a very good picture to you?
He looks very sad.
Yes, he did. Well, he died, so he's probably sad.
Oh.
But even the Steve Lambardozzi, how does he look?
Like he was too late to smile?
Yes. It's like, you ever see those yearbook pictures where, old yearbooks before digital film, where they would have those random pictures of some guy that sneezed in the middle of the picture, but they never replaced it, so he'd be like this? In a school picture, you ever see that?
No.
Nowadays, when you do that, they correct it. But the photo quality is a 3. Design is just, their inspiration must have been Jackson Pollock, because it's red with like splattered colors on it, and it's just awful. Design a 2. Key cards, a very generous 1. There's nobody in this. I mean, when you think of 1990, yeah, there's like a Bo Jackson thing, but there's 4 of those on there. So even the stars and stuff, they're just garbage. The crash effect probably hit the 1990 Donruss more than any others, or at least more than many of them. Because the crash effect, you could get this set before the wax the Junkwax era crash, which is around 1994 to 1998. This set before 1994 would run you about 25 bucks. After the crash, you couldn't give these away. I've talked to guys that are in the business of buying and selling cards. When they come across 1990 cards, they throw them in the trash, which gets to the staying power. Definitely A1. This has got to be, when you combine the mass production with a crummy design, no effort, terrible pictures, it's like, I don't know what happened with this set, but it's just garbage. The 1990 Donruss has to be one of the worst sets in base, not only of the Junkwax era, but of any baseball card era at all. So, let's add the numbers. Card quality, card stock, 3. Photo quality, 3. Design, 2. Key cards, 1. Crash effect, 1. Staying power, 1. Oh, and I neglected to mention, you want to get this set on eBay, you can get them for $5 any day of the week, and they'll be happy to give them to you. If you contact any dealer and you say, hey, come across, I'll take all the 1990 Donruss cards you have, they'll probably give them away just to get them out of their house. So we have 3 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, which gives us what, Andy?
11.
11. So they have an overall score out of 60 at 11. Compare that to the 87 Fleer video where they got a 39 and the 1987 Top set with a 30. This set should never have been produced. And there's no effort into it at all. They just slapped some cards together and tried to sell them. And I'm sure Donruss made a good amount of money. But what also this did to the Donruss reputation, it was so bad. And I didn't realize how bad it was with Donruss the card set, until the season was kind of winding down to like August, when I said, I'm not buying any more of these, but only to discover the other card companies weren't much better. But I still remember saying, I'm not buying any more of these Donruss. These are garbage cards. And sure enough, that held to tradition. And I was so irritated with them. I did not buy hardly any Donruss packs, maybe a random one here or there, but I didn't collect Donruss again until 96. And this card, this particular set, they may have made a lot of money on it that year. They probably did. But it sank the Donruss reputation. Before 1990, Donruss was considered, of the 3 main companies, well, there were 5 by 1990. You had Topps, Fleer, Donruss, Score, and Upper Deck. They had a decent reputation right below Upper Deck. Of the other companies, they had a good one. By the time this set was reduced, people were done with Donruss. They totally took their own reputation and put it down the toilet. If any of you guys watching this are any experts and you're studying anything with marketing, research the 1990 Donruss set. It's a perfect example of what a company can do to ruin their reputation and ruin their company. I'm done with my rant.
Okay.
Are you good?
Yes.
All right. Don't forget to like, and don't forget to
Like.
subscribe.
Oh, subscribe. You already said
Subscribe.
like.
Thanks for watching.